live on the internet. Yay. All right, then. So, in about a minute, we're going to start our show. So, share if you care. Dr. David Klein coming in. Dr. Klein, calling Dr. David Klein. Please come to the
In my
microphone.
mobile studio.
There he is. He's on the road to Asheville. I thought you said Asheville.
Yeah,
Asheville.
yeah. Well, Charles Kuralt did it. He made a lot of money doing it.
You just say you're in Asheville, North Carolina, right? That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, very cool. So yeah, Charles Kuralt on the road. He actually had
on the road.
another whole family, wife,
Yeah.
and nobody
Well,
knew.
that was why he was on the road.
I know, and nobody knew until he died. Stand by. I'm serious. I was like, "Are you kidding?" They didn't find out until after the fact. They're like, "Hey."
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why we're on the road. And so, Tess and I are Mormons, you see, and so we're out there finding.
And start.
Stand by. All right, here we go.
From the United States of America, you're listening to the Living Sexy Radio Network, playing the sexiest music on the planet.
It's time for Stages of Life Radio with Dr. David Klein. Have a medical question? Call 407-422-1212. That's 407-422-1212 or text 23680.
Oh boy, we're live again. Hi guys, it's Melissa Fox from Good Morning Orlando and various other radio programs throughout the world. And with me, Dr. Extraordinaire, David Klein from Stages of Life Medical Institute in beautiful Longwood, Florida. And right now he's in Asheville, North Carolina on vacation with his beautiful wife, enjoying her birthday. So thanks for taking the time out of your day and taking care of your wife's birthday needs to have a little show with us. Now, I understand that you're going to be talking about vaccines today, what's in the COVID-19 vaccine, and we'll also be taking phone calls too. We even have some on deck. So, yep, and more coming in. So anyway, Dr. Dave, please explain to us what's in the COVID-19 vaccine.
Okay, the problem that we're having out here right now is a lot of people are running around with misconceptions, doing what they call research, but it's really little more than getting on the internet and looking at poor me groups. And they're finding information that may be wholly and totally incorrect, but it could lead to harm to themselves and harm to others. So one of the biggest misconceptions right now has to do with what's in the Pfizer and the Moderna COVID vaccinations. What is in there? What are the chemicals? And there are people out there, well, it's got nanobots. Ask somebody, what's a nanobot? They don't know, but they saw it in a movie one time and it's no good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, or it's got some kind of other, RF technology, this and whatever, or it can cause birth defects or autism or whatnot. Well, the fact of the matter is that the mRNA vaccine is very, very cool. And it works in a way that's probably much, much safer than the other vaccines that have been produced prior to this time. So what does it do? Messenger RNA, the abbreviation mRNA, is a chemical. It's a chemical messenger code that goes from your nucleus to the machination of a cell called the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. You're not going to need to remember this, but it's where the cell makes proteins, glycoproteins, and structural sorts of stuff. And so it gets absorbed by a cell called a macrophage and a dendrocyte. These are two types of cells that are present in your muscle. So you inject it into the muscle, the mast cells get most of it. They gobble it up. The mRNA then goes ahead and starts making these proteins in the mast cells onto the mast cell membrane. The rest of the immune system does not like this, and it goes after and attacks it. So it gives the same type of response that a person would have if they developed the virus infection itself. So when you get the virus, you inhale it, you swallow it, two most common ways to get it, and it ends up going into the same cells, except they replicate, kill those cells, and then the virus goes every which way. But the messenger RNA that's in the virus has other messages as well that cause the production of additional viral particles. So this does not. All it does is makes those little out pockets of the cell that we all recognize in the coronavirus morphology. So what it does very, very simply is makes our cells produce that protein on those cells' membranes to induce an immune response. Way, way important. Now, what's in the material? What is in this vaccine that we're getting that could be so terrible? Well, for starters, if there was such a thing as nanobots, they'd be expensive. And nobody listening to this show, me included, is important enough for anybody to invest $10, $20, $30,000 into an injection to see what you're watching on TV. So you're not important enough for any of that to happen.
Okay, quick side.
So what's in there?
Question. What about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which I know is coming out in a much less, like 66%? Just throwing it in there, but you can go ahead and talk about the ingredients now, okay? Thanks.
Okay, well, let me finish up the ingredients on the Pfizer one first. So what it contains is the messenger RNA. That's the business end of the bullet. Some lipid, which protects it on its way in. Some salt and some sugar, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less, and it's very inexpensive and rapidly produced. The Moderna is similar. They differ in the type of lipids that they're using. Otherwise, they're pretty much identical. The advantage of the 2-injection technique over the single Johnson & Johnson injection is that, one, you get a higher immune response out of it, but also you're likely to get a more lasting response. Why is this? It's the same reason why with many vaccines we give it once, we give it twice, we may give it a third time in order to induce the immune response. The first time is like the layup. It gets the B cells acclimated to it, and if you have humoral immunity, it starts that process. But it usually takes a second or third injection to get the T cells involved, and that's long-term memory. So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is probably going to be good for people that are non-compliant. What does that mean? I'm going to get one shot, but I don't want to go back because it hurts so bad. Great. Okay. So it's like adult children. So if you have the choice to do this, you want to get the 2-dose approach because you're going to get much better immunity. So what's the difference between the two? It's going to be where you are, what you're getting, and really what's available. So if you're in the prison system, you want the single dose, go for it. You do what you need to do. But so far as productive adults, people that really do need their immune system to work properly, people that take care of themselves and may take care of you, the 2-dose vaccine is the one that you're going to want. Whether it's Pfizer or Moderna, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference at all. You pick and choose, but that's 95% effective. So what other types of questions do you think people are asking?
Why does it hurt? My friend Susie said this person died after getting the vaccine. It's bad. I'm not gonna. There's so much crap out there, Doc. Really. I mean, just grab onto something and then make it stick.
You got it. Nobody has died from this. Now we have a big country. They've given out, I forget how many millions of these doses, and people just by age will in fact die. It works that way. They may get run over by a car. They may have a heart attack. But the fact of the matter is, this stuff is pretty darn safe. Nobody has gotten meaningfully sick from it, although the types of reactions that they are looking at are usually pain in the arm. Does it hurt? And the answer is some people experience a good bit of pain at the injection site. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? Pick me.
It's a good thing. Why? Because it means that your body is kicking up an immune response. This is very, very important. So if you get a flu vaccine and you don't get a reaction to it, you probably didn't get an immune response built up. So, does it hurt? I got my first dose about 3 weeks ago. I got my second dose is coming up on Tuesday, I believe. And did it hurt? And the answer is yeah, for a day or two it ached. Big deal. Okay. It is not worth, being too upset about. After the break, we're going to talk about autism and injections. After that, we'll talk about fertility and these injections. These are the things that people are going nuts about, okay? And there's absolutely no reason to do it. We are about a week and a half, 2 weeks away from having lost more people in this COVID pandemic than we did in the Civil War. Think about that. We lost 600,000 people in the Civil War, and we're getting close to losing that number of people in this pandemic. So get the vaccine. We're not asking you to run with Pickett on Pickett's charge here. Get the shot. This is not any big deal. Why people need to make a mess of it, don't know, but we will be right back.
Yeah, Doc, hey, when we do come back, we also have Tony on the line. He's checking in from New York, and he's got some questions about an inguinal hernia. You know I said that wrong, right?
Inguinal hernia.
Yeah,
sure, no
I
problem.
clearly
Yeah,
said that.
we're running a special on inguinal hernias.
Yay! Buy one, get one free this week only at Stages of... No, that's not true. But even so, let me hit this little button here. We'll start some music. There it is. All right. Tell you the phone lines are hopping at 407-422-1212. And I haven't even thought about opening up the text line yet, so I should probably get on that, don't you think, Doc? Yeah. 23680.
Why not?
23680 is our text line. Either way, we're going to take a quick break and be back in 2 shakes of a rabbit's tail. I have no idea what that means, but I'm going to go catch the rabbit right now. You're listening to Stages of Life Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I can't find the button again. It's so fun. Wait, there it is. Sorry, guys. It's hard. It's hard to find the button. You've seen it, okay? It's like the size of a teeny little pointer. So anyway, but thanks for joining us online here. Something's going crazy. It's posting. Thanks for joining us like a million times on our YouTube channel. Sorry, guys. Linda Voll's checking in. She said mom got her second dose of the Moderna vaccine the other day. And yeah, really good, guys. I mean, you gotta we gotta get back to some sort of semblance of normal. Because I'm going crazy.
Yeah, because nothing's going to happen in this country until either everybody gets inoculated or they get the disease.
Wait, are there
It's
snacks?
going to have to happen.
Are there snacks being had behind you, Doc?
My stomach
I don't
ache.
know. Yeah,
Sorry.
she's cut me off the line there with pretzels.
It was. I knew it.
It's
There
okay.
were snacks. I knew it. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us for our Stages of Life Medical Institute, our Stages of Life radio show, which runs on News Radio WFLA in Orlando, across Central Florida, coast to coast, on 540 AM, 93.1 FM in the lower part of Central Florida, and 94.1 FM on the northern side of Florida, up here where we are in the Longwood area. Not as far as Asheville, North Carolina, but you can pick it up on the iHeartRadio app with no problem. Just search News Radio Orlando. That's pretty simple. Okay, so we're talking about vaccines, Doc, and actually, on Tuesday night, Lizzie wants you to come in and do our connection show and talk about... I think she may be misguided, too. She wrote, if Dr. Dave is in, can we talk about the second round of COVID and how people are getting sick from it and how to counteract some of the symptoms? That doesn't sound
There
like
we go.
Lizzie, did it?
No, God bless her.
Yeah.
But no, we can do better than that.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Tanya checked in, and she's on the Facebook page, Stages of Life Medical Institute, Doc. She said she's having a hard time getting a vaccine appointment. Her primary doc says to get mine at a hospital because she has a shellfish allergy and tachycardia issues. Do you think the mall has medical professionals to help in case there is an emergency? Oh, please. Answer.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's the deal. Okay, shellfish allergy will get you into problems at Red Lobster, but it's not going to be a problem with these injections. So don't worry about it. But there are paramedics out there.
Yes.
So is it a big problem? The answer is no. But if you're really concerned, bring your EpiPen with you.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell patients. They go, oh, well, I've got multiple allergies. So do I.
Bring your
If you
inhaler
really
with you. Those kind of things, Bring those emergency risk things. And what? Aren't you supposed to check your BP and stuff, make sure you're in a good place?
No, it doesn't even matter.
Okay.
It absolutely doesn't matter. Get the inoculation. Save your life.
You see how he shoots me down?
The blood pressure issue was there before.
Yeah. 29 seconds.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't?
It doesn't make a lick bit of difference.
Yeah, how can they check my blood pressure
No.
before they make me go to the
That's the
periodontist? You don't have an
Okay,
answer.
because dentists actually were better about checking patients' blood pressures than the family doctors were. So the dentist made it a common practice to get blood pressure as a public health screening
Okay, stand by.
before the doctors did.
Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Welcome back to Stages of Life Radio. Sunday afternoons, 4 o'clock until 5 p.m. We are live. You can call us at 407-422-1212. Now, Doc, before the break, I mentioned that Tony was checking in from New York City. And Tony is 65. He wants some recommendations. He knows you're a supplement guy, Dr. Dave. He wants to know how to fix an inguinal hernia.
Inguinal hernia.
Yeah.
Okay. An inguinal hernia is a funny kind of a thing. It's largely congenital. There was an opening in your groin, okay, called at the internal canal that's been there since you were born. But all it takes is having a little bit too much fat inside your abdomen, or just being a little bit too fat, period, and then combine that with lifting or stressing down a little bit too much, and it pushes the fat. There's like a fatty portion called in the omentum that surrounds the gut, and it pushes it into this area. So really what it would be like taking a balloon, a children's balloon, and taking your finger and pushing it into it. That would be a herniation. So it's they can be painful, but they're really not dangerous until the area gets strangulated and starts to become ischemic, which is to say that the tissue starts to die. So you can, in fact, do badly with a hernia if it gets incarcerated. So what's the best treatment for an inguinal hernia? And the answer is repair it. What's the best treatment for an umbilical hernia? The answer could be, if you're a general surgeon, fix it, but you can also get abdominal binders that help. With inguinal hernias, you can get a truss that will help. And what it is really is a pair of underwear that puts pressure against that area to buttress the hernia. So if you are really dead set against having it mended, okay, that's how you would deal with it. Are there any supplements you can do to tighten the tissue up? The answer is sadly no. This is just the sort of thing that happens back in the day when we had tires, automobile tires that had tubes in them. If you had a little crack in the sidewall, the inner tube would blossom outward. That's the way the hernia operates. Okay, so you want to go ahead and you want to push the tissue back in and then sew it up. The whole procedure, depending upon the skill of the surgeon, the severity of the hernia, the health of the tissue around it, could take as little as 15 minutes or as long as an hour to fix. Rarely is it longer. But if you have pain from it, you fix it. That's just a good rule of thumb. So Tony in New York, if you find somebody capable of doing hernias in New York, shouldn't be too tough to do. And the recovery period from this is about, believe it or not, is about 6 weeks, but you're going to feel pain from it for about 6 months. So if it's the left side that's bothering you, when you go to turn to back up your car, you're going to feel it. If it's on the right side, if you look out the left side window, you're going to feel it. That lasts about 6 months. 6 weeks, it feels weak. You're not going to feel yourself. The surgeon will tell you it'll be better in a week. You will not. It takes 6. Just suck it up, Buttercup, and get it done.
Okay, so when we started off the show, and again, you're listening to Stages of Life Radio with Dr. David Klein from Stages of Life Medical Center in Longwood, Florida. Check out stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com for more information. Have to do all that, Dave. But we were talking about vaccines, and you were kind of shooting down the myths of the COVID vaccine, but let's carry that to some of the other vaccines. Oh, the anti-vaxxers and Karen, listen up. Because
yes, all of them. Listen
autism
up.
and vaccines. Come on, start me off.
23 years ago, there was a British physician by the name of Wakefield. Okay, and this guy published an article with several other people in Lancet, which is Britain's #1 journal in medicine, talking about autism, happening after the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. Very quickly thereafter, they found that this data was a lie. The other authors backed out. Wakefield was stripped of his credentials and was thrown out of the profession in disgrace. If he had been a cavalry officer, they would have broken his sword, stripped off his buttons, and ripped off his epaulets, and then shown him the door. So he was kicked out hard. That is tough to do.
That's pretty
Very
rough.
difficult to get that type of treatment anywhere, but especially in Britain where they're so civil. So what he did, because he was this kind of guy, he went ahead and had a movie made looking at these vaccines. It's caused a big problem, and it's killed hundreds of people, maimed thousands, and put a bunch of people in the hospital unnecessarily because the data that he kicked out was not real. It was fraudulent. And for whatever reason, okay, whether he's crazy or whether he's got some kind of other delusion, he has damaged a lot of people. Now, then they went ahead and said, oh, okay, well, if it happened for MMR, it happened to all of them. Right. And so, number one, there was a Dutch study that went for something like 8 years, looked at thousands and thousands of inoculations and found nobody ended up getting autism from the injections. That study cost millions of dollars to do. Right. The waste that this guy has left in his path is enormous, and we still have really dumb people that like to read this stuff and make their own drama. So what do I think? I think that if it weren't for these vaccines, we would have a lot more dead kids than we have right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, kids die of these infectious disease. Number one killer of children, up until the 1950s, were viral infections and bacterial infections. Were it not for that, the graveyards would have a whole lot more small tombstones than they have right now. So we've got people out there that are putting their kids at risk and ours, because when you take care of herd immunity, it means that most everybody gets it, and the virus or the bacterium has no place to call home. So it is a very, very dangerous thing they're doing, and it puts everybody at risk for their own lack of education. Jeez. So what do I think? I think it's a huge problem public health wise. You can't send your kid to college without the right inoculation. You can't get into high school without them. Right. Why do you suppose that is? Okay, so you can go ahead and homeschool your kid, but what I will tell you is that if you want to get on an airplane with me, I don't think I want anybody on that airplane that could make me sick.
Well, now the travel, is that where you're going? Okay, come on.
Yeah, travel. If you want to go anywhere, you'd better have that inoculation. That's just life right now. So you might as well lock yourself away someplace on the top of a hill or in the bottom of a ravine, or you can live your life, get the inoculation. Bill Gates doesn't care enough about you to want to kill you. More so is if they did that, they couldn't sell their darn computers and operating systems. So why do you think it pays for any of them to make you sick? Because the answer is it doesn't. Follow the money. It makes no sense. So, what else do we look at with these tin hat individuals? Oh, okay. So I'm going to go around with a tin hat on because the stray radiation is going to change my brain. I don't think so. So people are out there worried about fertility. Oh. Okay. It has no effect on fertility, none whatsoever. It is the safest medication you can get. It probably is safer than a Tylenol. So what is it? When they were giving these and testing the Moderna, I believe it was Moderna, but it might have been Pfizer. There were 28 pregnant women that were tested in and amongst everybody else. There was one fetus that didn't make it, and it was a control group patient, which means they didn't get the vaccine, thankfully. So what does it mean? It means that a certain number of kids are going to drop out during pregnancy, and the answer is about a third. Okay, 1/3 of all pregnancies will end out as an abortion, a spontaneous abortion. That's what happens. You bleed, you think you're having a period, and that's the end of it. You don't even think about it. It's nature's way of fixing things, as it were. Mm-hmm. So that is, it's just extraordinarily safe. So it's one of the few things that they're telling pregnant women that is safe for them to do. Now, kids are a little bit different because they didn't test it in children at all. That's being done now.
Right.
So the studies on kids are underway at this point. So, the likelihood of a 10-year-old child getting really, really sick with COVID is small, although there's a hospital full of them downtown Orlando that have cardiac issues from having gotten COVID. I've got one. One of those patients is mine.
Okay.
And so get the COVID vaccine for that reason, if none other. No. What else do we have there, Melissa, baby?
Well, you know what? I didn't pull up the darn text line. I'm still trying to do that. So give me a second here, and we'll see if we can find something else. But we do have a bunch of people listening to us. What about the thimerosal-based vaccines?
It's called thiomerisol. Yeah. They haven't used thiomerisol in vaccines in 30 years. So what was the issue with thiomerisol? Is it contains a minuscule amount of mercury. All right? Doesn't matter. A little bit of mercury, no problem. A lot of mercury, big problem. Mm-hmm. So if you have mercury fillings, as I do, when they break, you remove them. Okay? That's what has to happen.
Gotcha.
So where else do you see mercury? You see it in fish. So if you're eating cod, salmon,
Shrimp.
tuna, you just have to cut back on what you're doing because of the mercury amount.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. We got more questions coming up on the line here. 407-422-1212. You want to talk to the doc. Tony, again, thanks for your question. I hope you got your answer. And as for vaccinations, would you please get out there and get the COVID-19 one? Get on the list, right? Check out stagesoflifevitamins.com as well. We'll be right back. It's Stages of Life Radio. Where's the little button I have to push?
Gotta love questions like that.
I know, right? I found it. I found it this time. Okay, what is it? Do we do antibody tests? Alfonso, yes, they do. You said...
Brilliant question. Okay, so here's the cool answer to that. We do antibody testing 2 ways. One is with a finger stick to see if you've got them.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't really recommend those very much because there's a better approach to it. So if you've got reason to believe that you've been exposed, or if you get the vaccine and you want to know if you've developed immunity, we do quantitative gamma globulin assay. It's a blood study. It costs $100. You come in and we run them once a week. I think we run them on Saturdays. So we're open Monday through Thursday. If you want it, you come in, we draw your blood. The results will come out the following Monday. But it will tell you what the degree of immunity that you've got. So like my IgG level was 5 or 6. The positivity is at 1. Tess here came down with the virus the same time I did, but her gamma globulin wasn't high at all. So she went ahead and got her vaccine. We're going to be rechecking her gamma globulin shortly. Mm-hmm. And then after her second dose, we're going to check it again. So yes, that's very, very doable.
Cool. Well, there you go, Alfonso. And he says, well, cool. He says he has helped 38 people over the age of 65 to register. He is 43 and can't wait until his day comes to get it done.
That's marvelous. Okay. There's a website called myvaccinefl.gov.
Yeah, I'm going to put it
that's really where to go for this thing. So it'll be
myvaccine.fl.gov. And the thing is, unless you're in Seminole County, because they're handling it properly all by themselves.
No, this is statewide.
No,
wrong. Seminole County opted out of it. Yeah.
Sorry.
So Seminole County is doing it the best in Florida. Florida is doing it about the best in the country, and so they just didn't want to be dragged down by, like Lake County.
Yeah. They're like, y'all can be a Polk County and whatnot. You're. So anyway, that's what's up with that test, as well as Alfonso. Is that on Fridays? No. The testing is on Fridays. Is that what did I miss?
Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
But what we do is we gather the blood and it's run on the machine on Saturday. But we're the only ones in the country right now that can quantify it. So we've been doing this since, I guess, April. So for the past 9 months, we've been able to quantify the amount of IgG and IgM. It's very, very neat. It's a little hobby of mine.
That was a wrong one. Pause you.
Yeah, but I was an analytical chemist before I was a doctor. So it was actually pretty easy to hack into the machine software to be able to extract the data to figure out what, quantitatively how much was there. And frankly, it didn't take very long. It took about 30 minutes. Yeah, it was just a simple exercise actually. But it's there. The data is right there looking at you.
Welcome back. It's Stages of Life Radio. We do this Sunday afternoons from 4 until 5. You want to get on the horn with us? 407-422-1212. 5 board certifications and not one lacking bit of knowledge to be dispersed. I swear. You love just spitting it. That's Dr. David Klein. Love this guy. If you want to become a patient, go to stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com or just call 407-679-3337 Monday morning. Doc was just giving us some information on the social media while we were on our commercial break on the radio about the now. Linda Vall's now saying Orange County has also opted out of that website. Well, for those of you in the outskirt counties, of which there are many here in Florida, 70-something, I think.
Too many.
Yeah, way too many. I don't know why she's playing all of a sudden. Shh. All of a sudden.
But what you do is you get on regardless, if Orange County and Seminole County have their own and they're happy with it,
fine.
That's the best place to go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you go on the state one and wait your turn. Now, what's it all about? And thank you very much to the caller who helped over 45 people log in to do this. So when I went to get my vaccine, I was, I'm over 65. I looked around and I was the only one there that wasn't in a wheelchair or a walker. It was insane. So, there were people there that you would hope that would be, instead of using a cane, they'd use a shuffleboard stick. But they, these people did it. They got on the website, they got their vaccines.
And a lot
so
of
when
them
people
had
come
help.
back and say, yeah, oh, well, I can't do it because I'm technologically challenged, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. You can get it if you have a cell phone. The cell phone gives you the capability of getting on these sites and getting signed up. The only thing that you're missing is motivation. So we have words for that, okay? But you have to get this done. This is in my humble opinion, it's a patriotic duty to get this thing accomplished. All they're asking you to do is roll your sleeve up and get a free vaccine. And what does it do? It's going to help open the country up. Now, for those of you out there that voted one way or the other, it's not a Democratic or Republican issue. So yes, it's true that this is the Trump vaccine. Yes, it's true that it wouldn't have happened without him. Okay, but you got to get the darn vaccine so we can go back to life. Who wants to be locked up, running around with these stupid masks on? It's nonsense.
That's crazy.
So get the vaccine and join the human race.
All right, so we've had some people share prepareseminal.org. Okay. That's the one for here. Otherwise, it's myvaccine.fl.gov. Again, myvaccine.fl.gov. If you are not in Seminole or Orange County, you should probably go on there and sign up. And again, they say over 65, Doc. A lot of people who have pre-existing conditions, such as myself, who are not 65 or older. How are we going to get on board with this? I mean, we've gone to our doctors. They've said, I don't know. So
we have no pull in this.
Exactly. So
None.
it's the next
I write your
round.
letter, they laugh. You just have to wait. You have to wait your turn. Now, 60 to 70% of the population has pre-existing problems. So you're not that special. So those individuals, okay, well, but if I have pre-existing problems, is this more dangerous? And the answer is no. It's actually more essential that you get it.
Probably should.
So those individuals that have hypertension, diabetes, obesity, reflux esophagitis, you guys are at increased risk. So if you go on the My Florida vaccine one, okay, that's for the whole state except for Seminole, they'll push a notation to you when it's when your group comes up.
Yeah, it's a whole idea.
Okay, so you log in, put all your information in there, and they will call you, they will text you when you're eligible. This is not going to take any trouble at all. It took me a while to get my daughter to do it. It's all a matter of motivation. So get in there, get it done, get the vaccine. They can't inoculate everybody at once. So who's at increased risk of dying from this? Those individuals over the age of 70 to 75. 40% of all the deaths are in that age group. So the rest of us, the likelihood of getting really, really sick and croaking is markedly diminished. But even still, okay, what is the overall risk of dying from COVID? And the answer is 1%. That is a high number.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 1 in 1,000. It's 1/10 of 1% for things like influenza. So one person in 100 that comes down with COVID is going to expire. So it's really important that you do it. It's important that you avoid getting this. Now, this leads to another interesting myth. So you got COVID, okay? So does that mean you don't have to get the inoculation? And the answer is no. You still have to go do it because the virus itself causes an immune response, but it doesn't last more than about 6 months.
Okay, now another doctor was asked this question on this station this past week. And this question came out of a woman in DeBerry. I think she listens all the time, and she's actually been a fan of the show here, too, for Stages of Life Radio.
Cool.
So she went to go get the vaccine, but she got tested on the 6th of January. And they said that she was asymptomatic, but she had COVID. And she wanted to know how long she had to wait before she could get the vaccine. Now, another professional in the field said 3 months.
No. Okay, here's the real answer to this. Okay, now the Department of Health will tell you 2 weeks. Now, why do they do 2 weeks? Because they don't want you
They don't want
giving
you
COVID
around.
to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's stay at home until
Keep your
you're no
germ.
longer
That's right. Keep your germs
infectious.
home. Mhm.
But I got the COVID vaccine the day after I had a PCR done, which was positive. Now, I didn't know it was positive, or I would have waited. So I went in, had my COVID vaccine done on a Tuesday. Tuesday night, I got my COVID results back for the PCR, and they were positive. Now, did I croak from it? The answer is no. But the difference between my labs and my lovely wife, who got sick at exactly the same time, is that she did not get the inoculation, but I developed the antibodies quickly and she did not. So I'm encouraging my patients to go in and get it. Don't let the people at the DOH fool you. We went there for tests. And so they asked her, said, well, have you recently had COVID? And she said, yeah, I got over it. I had it 3 weeks ago, got over it last week. And they started arguing with her that you had to wait 2 weeks until the DOH nurse realized, after some lengthy discussion and shouting, that 3 is more than 2. Okay. And then she goes, oh, okay. And then, yeah, this is the quality of individual you're dealing with up there. So the fact of the matter is it probably doesn't make a lick's bit of difference whether you're sick or not when you get the inoculation. In my experience, and having tested over 25,000 people for COVID, it actually gives you a better immune response. So if it were me and I were sick with it, I would probably not go, so I wouldn't be making other people ill. But I do tell you, and I insist on this, that it probably gives you a much better immune response. So go up there and get it. You're talking to folks over there that read the same garbage that most everybody reads on the internet, and then they're supposed to be smart. They will tell you things that are patently untrue, because that just seems to be the way they do it at the DOH sometimes. So I had somebody tell me, I'll tell one of my patients, that there's no way they could be infectious after 2 weeks having COVID. I have patients that are infectious after 6 months. They call them long haulers.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that cannot throw the infection. So when do you know that you are negative? When do you know that you're non-infectious? When that PCR comes back negative.
Right.
They used to tell us we had to do 2 negatives, but the fact of the matter is that it's just not really necessary. 1 negative PCR is sufficient if it's a proper sensitive RT-PCR. But that's what you do. So 2 weeks is insufficient. Tess had it longer than I did. I was PCR negative at 9 days.
Yeah.
So hers went out a little bit longer.
Yeah, I remember that was a little bit different for you.
Well, she couldn't come into the studio for it because we didn't. That's the way these things work.
Yeah, respectfully, yeah. Stay home. Yes.
Yeah.
But even so, you want to check in 407-422-1212. That's the number here for Dr. David Klein, Stages of Life Medical Institute. If you want to go there, set up, check out the new patient portals and all the wonderful stuff. There's so much that you have to offer on the web, Dave. It's incredible. They'll never make it all the way through in a lifetime. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's at suffernomore.com. There's lots to read. You can listen to us on Stages of Life Radio. It just runs 24/7. Go to stagesoflifevitamins.com. Just pick a particular vitamin, mineral, or whatever on the search bar. Find the product. Find the product, and then just go ahead and cursor down to where it says audio files.
All right.
You go, and then there'll be 15-minute lectures, just to listen to. So you don't have to read. You can be talked to with Stages of Life.
Fair enough. All right. We're going to be right back. Take a quick break here for our sponsors, including pharmacy specialists in Maitland, compounding pharmacy that Dr. David Klein has been working with for several decades. Why? Because he knows what he's doing.
They're good.
Yeah, they really are good. So check them out and let them know you heard about pharmacy specialists during the Stages of Life radio show on News Radio WFLA Orlando. We will be right back. Go get to some of those texts. You want to get us? 23680. That's the text line. I found the button.
Hot dogs.
All right. What
yeah,
was
that little beeping in the background there. Yeah, that was the car turning off.
I was wondering what was going on. It was like your 20-minute mark or 40-minute mark or something.
No, actually, I don't understand. I think there's a fail-safe in here for guys
you
like
leave
me.
it on.
In case I leave the car running after 20 or 30 minutes, it turns itself off.
Oh, it's got an old
I didn't know
dude
it did that.
setting. All right. Hang on. Let me see if I can find the darn text.
Actually, I think it's an hour. I've been on the phone with it for an hour so far,
Mm-hmm.
so that's probably it. It's been an hour.
He's about right. All right, hold on, people on the internet. You might get a fun little picture for a second if I can do this. I'm trying to. Nope, doesn't seem like it's gonna work at all for me. Okay, great, thanks. I'm trying like all heck to get a hold of the text line. It's just not. It's just not working. Oh well. So anyway, what do we got here? Tanya, I learned a lot from your website. Thank you very much. There you go. Tanya says that she's learned a lot from your website, Dr. Dave.
You're very welcome, and thank you for looking at it.
There you go. Very nice. What are we eating today?
That's loud. Cough drop.
It's a cough drop. So these are Hall's cough drops.
Oh.
Brought to you by Hall's. Okay. Yeah, they're better than Luden's in my opinion. So
I see. Better than Luden's. Luden, yeah.
yeah, I like to go with the
Yeah,
beer.
licorice.
Yeah. So no, actually, so I'm getting over the COVID business. I've been free of it now for about 2.5, 3 weeks, but it's left me with a persistent tickle in my throat.
Ooh.
And so it's interesting, so it's there. So if I take too deep a breath or something like that, it makes me want to cough. So it doesn't do well on the radio. So I keep a Luden's, or not Luden's, a Hall's drop in my cheek.
40-something seconds here. Hold on here. I'm trying to get into the text line. Like I said, still trying to get into the text line. Okay, and there. Oh, hi, Doc. 9 years ago, I took your wonderful advice. Have they done any Oh, there's a lot of them here. We're going to have to get to this. Oops. Okay. No. You go away. Yes, dear. Okay. And say goodnight to you. Yes. And 12 seconds until something crazy happens. 8 seconds now. All right. Hey,
The
thanks
music
for
starts.
joining us, by the way. Yeah, that's right. Does the vaccine affect fertility? Oh, come now. Welcome back.
We will talk about that as we did a few minutes ago.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We're just looking at the text line, and also the phone's going crazy. All right, let me just run through some of these. Hey, thanks for listening, by the way, to Stages of Life Radio, Sunday afternoons from 4 until 5 here on News Radio WFLA Orlando. Podcasts available on your favorite podcast app, or, of course, the iHeartRadio app. All right, let's see. What are the differences between all the vaccines? Are some better than any others, Dave?
Okay, simply stated, okay, the two-dose vaccines seem to be the best that are out there.
Okay, so
They're mRNA vaccines. They are not that big a deal in terms of they don't hurt but a little bit. Injection for a day or two afterwards, you ache a little bit, but they seem to give the best immune response. So the Moderna and the Pfizer, in my opinion, are the best choices right now.
Okay, Carol in Leesburg wants to know if the vaccine affects fertility, which we did address a little earlier.
And the short answer is no.
Okay.
No data whatsoever that it does, would, or even could. The messenger RNA does not touch native DNA.
Okay.
So this is one of those myths that's out there. Well, these things change your DNA. No, they don't. Messenger RNA doesn't go backwards to DNA. The DNA creates the mRNA, which then creates the proteins. So what this does is it steps ahead of your genes to make this protein in the mast cells, which then cause the immune response. So the answer is it is entirely safe with fertility. It's entirely safe in pregnancy. And the only thing that they really don't know about right now are kids, because they haven't been adequately studied.
There we go.
Everybody else is fair game.
So that should answer the next one, which was, have they done trials in children, which they have not adequately studied, apparently, because you just said so. Okay, here's one.
By the time they get everybody else done,
They'll have
the kids will be ready for this.
Right.
Yeah.
9 years ago, I took your wonderful advice to add a foam pad to my bed so that I would not awaken with hip pain. And now, years later, even though I added a second foam pad, I am once again awakening with hip pain. What to do now, Doc?
Take away the original one, okay,
First
and
of
put a
all.
fresh one in there. They only last a few years.
Don't double up.
And if you don't double up, if you go ahead and do that, it's like putting a thumbtack on your hip. Don't do it. The second thing I'd like you to do is to get some Voltaren cream. It's spelled Voltarin. It used to be prescription. It's now over the counter. And before you go to bed at night, you take about 2 chocolate chips worth. It'd be 1 gram. Okay. If you look at your small fingernail, it's about that much, and put it on that hip. So you go to bed with it on you put it on the hip, then go to bed. But take out one of those 2 foam egg crate mattresses, and if it's older than 2 or 3 years, you just simply have to replace it. Now you can use those egg crate mattresses after they're no longer useful on your bed. You can use them to make pillows, works fine, but you can also use them for packing material. So if you're going to be shipping something, Christmas present, delicate things, you cut them into squares and they make great packing material. So don't just waste it. This stuff is good for other things.
Hi, Doc. This is all text line, by the way. Thanks for checking in, everyone, at 23680. Hi, Doc. We enjoy and thank you for your radio show. Can non-epileptic seizures be due to nutritional deficiencies?
It can happen, actually. That is a very, very cool question. So you can have seizures from deficiencies in the omega-3 fatty acids. You can have seizures from deficiencies in a neurotransmitter called GABA, which is it's called GABA aminobutyric acid. It's a substituted amino acid. You can have nutritional seizures from alcohol withdrawal. So the answer to your question is yes, you can. So what do I suggest you do with that? That's that. There's a handful of things that you need to do with the nutrition, but just watch your oil intake.
We have a text that says that we are being mocking and condescending to anyone who thinks differently about or has fears about injection pain or long-term effects or even death. I don't think that's really true. I mean, the opposite really.
Our goal here is to try to save lives and make people better. There are people out there that sometimes just simply need a talking to.
Right. And
is it condescending? No, we're trying to introduce humor into something that is deadly serious.
Right.
I'm going to do something here with this phone, which is going to upset you somewhat. I'm going to have to move it slightly.
It's okay.
Okay, because my battery is running down.
But he's gone further to say that he was not going to call in. Fact is, you, Doc, cannot claim to know the long-term effects when this vaccine is still in an experimental phase and not FDA approved. Did we lose you?
Well,
Dave?
it is FDA approved.
Yeah,
it has its
all.
EUA.
Yeah,
it has its EUA. It's there. Yeah, that's just the way that it works. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm
there
here.
We go.
Yeah, and again, we're not trying to be condescending. It's
so,
just that you have a lot of anti-vaxxers out there who are really harming the greater good by floating all these horrible rumors out there. That's all there is to this. And as for pain in the injection site, we're not making fun of it. We're saying that is supposed to happen. And if you don't have it, then you might be concerned.
Yeah, that little bit of pain that I had in my arm and Tess had in her arm, okay, are considerably less than the misery that I had from the virus. Tess still can't taste her food. Okay, so you think that a little bit of pain in the arm is a bigger aggravation than running the risk of not being able to taste your food, smell smoke, do whatever the heck you have to do with your sense of smell and taste. Then your priorities are upside down and sideways. Now, if that's condescending, it isn't meant to be. It's meant to be direct, and it's meant to be helpful at some level. Firmly believe that these things are bad for you, then there's nothing that anybody can do to dissuade you.
No, but to try and go out there and correct a lot of the bad thinking and just poor representation of what's going on out there so that people like myself and you and everybody else that's listening can get back to a normal life. There's nothing condescending about that. We're merely trying to put information out there, correct?
Yeah, and we have. And that's exactly what we do. And I'm paying for the privilege of trying to save this fellow's life.
Right.
And so he can take it or leave it, and that's fine. There are going to be people out there that are going to do as they wish. We still, in fact, live in a free country.
Oh, yeah.
You're entitled to do as you wish with this.
Hey, I fought, and
However,
so did you, for the right for his opinion, or her opinion. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Now we get further information that says that the CDC website states that well over 300 people have died already from this vaccine, with 1 million inoculated. That's a 3% fatality. Is that for real? I've not heard this.
3%? No.
No.
No. Okay. If how many people die as just die? Okay, that's just the way that it goes. But as a direct result of the inoculation, the answer would be 0. So 300 people may have died over the period of the past 6 weeks. That doesn't shock me too terribly. More people died last year during the period of December to December than died the following year due to COVID and everything else. All causes deaths have decreased because people have been staying at home.
Yeah, we're not getting out there.
So more
getting
people
sick.
are going to die on the. Yeah.
Well, boy. Hey, you have a safe drive back from Asheville, North Carolina, and don't you worry about the naysayers because there are people out there who got the information they needed today from you, Dr. Klein.
Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
You got it. We'll do it again soon. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow morning with Simon. Right now, let's let the lady close this out here for you. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Stages of Life Radio with Dr. David Klein. Check out stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com or stop by 1917 Booth Circle in Longwood near the intersection of I-4 and 434. Call 407-679-3337. That's 407-679-3337. Dr. Klein accepts most insurance and Medicare too. Join us next Sunday at 4 p.m. on News Radio WFLA Orlando.